Also, a brief aside, wasn't mentioned in the LinkedIn. I think I mentioned it to you. Reading it, I was like, oh, actually, interesting. A year or so ago, a bunch of golf influencers who I occasionally watch on YouTube, depending on what their content is. For example, Bryson DeChambeau just played around with President Trump.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But not him in particular, but a golf influencer, like golf YouTuber, one of the biggest ones, about a year or so ago, maybe a touch longer, maybe 2 years ago, who was sponsored by Nike. He was always wearing Nike gear, this and that. He was like, look, I've ended my relationship with Nike. It's fully amicable. It's all fine. But, and he said, like, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. He was like, previously they would give me gear and like a flat amount of money per year. You know, we had a contract or whatever. They're changing their contract with all of their sponsored influencers or whatever, which there were many on YouTube, to go to affiliate marketing, basically. It's like I would need to put a link in the description of every single one of my videos, and my revenue would be based on that, and I don't want to do that. You know, I'm happy to wear the gear. I like Nike, but I'm not going to, and he was like saying, I'm not going to be, you know, pointing, it was British, it's Rick Shields. You know, I'm not going to be forcing you guys to be clicking on some link. It changes the incentives. Love Nike, but will no longer be, I'm no longer sponsored by them. And that kind of speaks to as well that idea that that's literally an example of going from kind of brand to performance, right? It's like we had influencers who we paid a flat fee to wear our gear, to we need to try and justify every single sale that comes from them with this affiliate marketing link, which, you know, is what it is.
Yeah, no, for sure.
If we were sponsored by Nike, for example,
I'm open to it.
I'd be happy to wear it, in particular if they gave us a flat fee.
But I'm not putting any links in anywhere.
I'm not putting no affiliate links.
I would say that for Nike to deck out to podcasters who at present don't have a video product with Nike shoes would be a really, really poor decision in terms of influencer marketing.
Even brand?
I don't think, unless we were constantly saying...
I mean,
we could do it at one mention per episode.
Yeah, I do that.
Like just a bit of...
All right, sure, deal.
In like a nice organic sort of natural way.
Oh, and what Nikes are you wearing today, James?
Or I could kick the table and be like,
oh.
Whoa. Sorry, I kicked the table too aggressively. But...
That'll happen in a pair of Nikes.
They've got... It's because it's these fucking... marathon shoes with the carbon fiber layer.
Yeah, and 4 centimeters of foam.
I don't know my own strength.
Yeah, anyway, when you have a bunch of retailers who are selling your shoes and you're taking a margin on them, they're taking a margin on them, how much information does that retailer have on like what the appropriate pricing is for those shoes and what the appropriate margin that they should be taking for them is? Now, they've, to a certain extent, because as I said, they've let a lot of those contracts lapse, blah, 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 they're replacing those independent retailers with Google and Facebook. They know what the margin they can take is on advertising, and they're competing with all these other brands. So basically, at the end of the day, Nike's margins have decreased. You should be making more, quote unquote. The dream of direct-to-consumer is that you make more margin. You don't have to pay your retailers margin. You don't have to, if you have brick and mortar stores, your own stores, you don't have to pay for rent and like salaries and all of the crap that comes with it. You take all that margin yourself.
Yeah, plus the fact your advertising is, in theory, really tightly attributed.
Exactly.
Every dollar is working really hard. You don't have to worry about, I mean, obviously Nike is still doing enormous amounts of money on brand marketing, and that hasn't gone away. But also you are paying for ultra-targeted advertising to the people who matter.
Yeah. Yet their margins are decreasing.
Yeah.
They're making less money per shoe sold.
Yeah.
So the question then is, does any of this shit work?
Does direct-to-consumer work?
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's probably, that's probably the takeaway that a lot of people had, especially there's a lot of advertising folk being like, see, I told you, you need to be paying us millions and millions of dollars for like ethereal things.
I've been enjoying watching I mean, you know, I'm not as plugged into the advertising world as I imagine you are. As someone who, as a marketer, as you know, an ad man. But it has been interesting. I saw that article get shared around insanely, and then it got shared on Twitter or X and in screenshots and what have you. But on LinkedIn, I saw a lot of like internecine marketing guy arguments, which basically broke down onto like the lines of, are you a performance marketing or a brand marketing practitioner, and then people who are in the middle, like, it's a false dichotomy.
Yeah.
You know, all this stuff fits together. Brand is not a channel.
It's all just marketing, bro.
Yeah, brand is not a channel. It's all about your connection with your customer, and whether that is through LeBron James being sponsored by your product or you getting served
8% off.
a Google retargeting ad because you looked at something and put it in your shopping basket and then took it out. That kind of shit. That's like peak performance marketing. It's like retargeting stuff that you've looked at and tried and maybe gotten to the checkout and then backed out and then being given a deal and that kind of crap.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think that more broadly, all of the Nike stuff, you know, we're maybe probably missing the forest for the trees, and that realistically, Nike and brand marketing worked when, once again, back to down round thesis, one of their largest assets, brand is certainly one of them, but is distribution. You can walk into you could walk into any friggin' store in the world and probably buy a pair. You'd expect Nike to be there, unless it's a dog shit store that you probably shouldn't trust.
But yeah, you go into Rebel Sport, you go into Foot Locker, you go into Athlete's Foot, you go
Hype.
Platypus. Probably I shouldn't Big W. No, actually, maybe Big W doesn't sell.
No, well, yeah, but Big W is seen as cheap, right? So maybe, but you might be able to get some cross trainers or some crap like that.
Yeah,
right?
maybe. I mean,
but point is, like, now they're competing in a world where there is multiple distribution channels. Google is effectively the shoe store. If you're looking up runners, Google, and then whoever's got like affiliate marketing for like top 10 runners, etc., etc.
And this is why you get, like, you know, I have Hoka shoes, and I actually, they're good, and they actually,
they started the like extra foam stuff, right? That now Nike and stuff is leaning into super hard.
Yeah, totally. But again, they're ones that have built up a kind of weird culty online brand. I know, like, Hoka have gone through a couple little things, but they're back up at the moment. Like, people are really into Hokas right now. So I guess that's a brand marketing sort of thing. But, you know, they're contending with lots of brands that you wouldn't have thought about 20 years ago or 10 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And, like, look, Nike are going to be okay.
Yeah. This is one of the classic down round qualifications. Every time we talk about a brand, we're like, they're going to be. Hey, Raf.
Hey, James.
Did you know that you can get an extra episode of Down Round every single week on top of the one that you're already getting?
Yeah, I knew that.
Well, yeah, obviously you know, but the person is like, I'm using you as a vessel to explain.
Sorry, as I'm the listener. No, go on, tell me more, James. How much does it cost?
A mere $7 a month, Raf.
Okay, where do I go to find out more about this?
You go to downround.net.
Okay, I want it.
Well, I'm sure you do.
I feel like I'm missing out by not having it.
Exactly. No ads. Second episode per week. And a few other little goodies that are coming down the pipeline as well. Head to downround.net.
Downround.net.
And sign up to Downround Premium.